What's good, Roughnecks fans, and welcome back to the Rough 'em Up podcast. I'm your host, Cullen Watkins, and here with me, as usual, A-Train Arlington Lane. I have way too much excitement after the season we just had, but Arlington, how are you doing this morning?
I'm still sitting there. I was on social media. First off, I'm okay. But I'm so on social media, and I sat back and I really reflected on this Roughneck season. And I was like, these people really lost their last 9 games of the season. They won the first game thinking everything was okay, and they lost 9 straight. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it whatsoever.
We joined, so I was looking, and I couldn't believe it. Looking at the record after we lost, for those who don't know, if you've been living under a rock, we lost to the Memphis Showboats in the Toilet Bowl, 12-19. Oh, woo! Shootout, folks.
Toilet bowl scores for real.
Literally. So we join with the 1-9 record. We join the realm of the spring football just pit with the 1-9 Pittsburgh Maulers in 2022 and the 1-9 Orlando Guardians of last year in the XFL. Ladies and gentlemen, we joined the club. We joined the 1-9 club. So round of applause for everyone with the Roughnecks. Great job this season.
Hey, it could have been worse. It could have been worse. It could have been 0-10. At one point at the beginning of the year, we were kind of skeptical that that's where they were headed, was 1-10. I mean 0-10, but you know, getting that first win out the way, hey, that's cool. And I understand people are wanting Curtis Johnson to be gone, but a lot of those, I will say that a lot of the games that the Roughnecks had were competitive. It's just that there was certain situations during the year that was like, come on, man. Like even in this last game against Memphis, you're in the red zone and you decide to take your running back and take a curl to the right side, thinking that you're going to throw off the Showboats when you have a spy linebacker that's literally coming over and following the back. And you throw it to him and he gets a loss. Like, think, people, think. Like, what was I just want to understand the process about the red zone and having a huge problem all season long scoring in the red zone.
That was the issue. And I wrote in my notes here, this game against the Showboats, if you could sum up the Roughnecks season in one game, this would be it. I mean, like you were saying, Arlington, we can't score in the red zone. And I just can't help but think back to that one little trick play we ran that one week. It's just stuff like that. It's just silly stuff that this offense was doing in the red zone. I mean, and Nolan Henderson, he played a good game. No touchdowns, no interceptions, 235 yards and through the air. And Arlington, I have a question for you. So this focus is going to be on moving forward, right?
Yes.
Is Nolan Henderson going to be on the team next season? And do you think he should?
Will he be on the team? Depending on who the coaching staff is. If it remains the same, Nolan Henderson is still on his team. Will he play on this team? That's still up for question. Depending on what 2025 brings to the table, you know, who gets drafted, you know, now that they are going to get the second pick at this point. It's going to be interesting to see how well the Roughnecks as a whole, you know, try to bounce back from this, you know, this 1-9 season, because this didn't look like 1-9, but it became 1-9 because of some of the bonehead mistakes that was made throughout the year. Like the defense had kept them in games for almost all season. And they did in this one. They had a chance to win, tie the game up or whatever. And it's offense. If that ain't the focus coming in the next season, like you need a better coordinator for this group. Like something was not meshing through those 10 games. Like I know the players have to execute it and the coordinators are the ones that set it up for success, but somehow it's not resonating between coordinator and player, and it's not moving in the direction that it needs to go. So changes is going to have to be made when it comes to at least the coordinator. I'm not going to blame everything on the head coach. When you have an offensive coach that has a huge problem with red zone scoring, that can be detrimental to your season. As you can see, that's what it was.
And there's just a lot of questions heading into this offseason. And well, first of all, shout out to Marcel Roby on our defense. Finished the game with 1 sack, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble. I mean, we had playmakers on the defense. That was whatever. I'm fine with the defense. But like you were saying, Arlington, with the offense, there's a lot of questions going in. What do we do quarterback-wise? I like Nolan Henderson, but is he starter worthy for next season when you have draft picks available and you have new free agents? That's something we're going to have to see. Mark Thompson, who knows what's going to happen with him? Is he going to come back? He may leave, want to go to a better team, or God knows what he wants.
Or just done with the league as a whole.
Exactly. He's been in it for 3 years now, adding the USFL. That's a long time in spring football. So there's a lot of questions that are going to need to be answered. And we don't know if the general manager, if he's going to stay around. We just don't know. We'll probably start hearing this news as soon as start hearing some rumblings as soon as this the UFL playoffs come to a close here. But I want to talk about the draft because you mentioned it, Arlington. We have the 2nd overall pick because we lost it to the Memphis Showboats, which I don't know if you agree with me. Does that really matter in the UFL college draft? I don't think it does.
It would be different if it was in something, no, it doesn't matter. Let me just say that.
Exactly.
No, it doesn't.
I totally agree with that. So for anyone who thinks it matters, it doesn't. Because, hey, who knows? The 1st overall pick of the draft may not even sign with the league. That's how these college drafts have worked in the past. But, Arlington, if you are the general manager with this 2nd overall pick, what position are you getting? Do you take a quarterback? O-line? What are you taking?
It has to be one of those two, like literally, because here's my thing, though. It wasn't like the offensive line was a problem. It wasn't too many times where a Roughnecks quarterback was sacked. They were able to get out of the pocket. It was making the throws. So at this case, I don't know. A quarterback just seems logical here. Who can be the one that can move the ball down the field and do it effectively and use it to almost perfection? You can make some mistakes along the way and whatnot, but I'm saying as in don't make blatant ones, like throwing a pass right to a defender, like right at a defender, or mishandling the ball. Because there was times I think that at the end of the game, it was a low throw from the center. You might need a new center at that. So he just threw it, and he didn't even pay attention to where it went. I get it. You're a center. You can't see behind you. But my thing is, you kind of know how you angle when you throw the ball behind you to the quarterback. So I would think that either a center at this point or a quarterback. It's those two middle positions of what we're looking at right now.
Because as we all know, in spring football especially, your team is only as good as your quarterback play. And I loved all our quarterbacks, well, except Jared Guarantano. But Henderson and Sennett, I really liked them. They were good guys. For those who don't know, Reed Sinnett is more than likely done with football after this season, as we heard on the broadcast. So it sucks to see him go, but he's done his time. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know the prospects enough. We don't really know who's in these college drafts until they really happen. The league seems to be always very quiet on who is involved in this. But I agree. You got to go either O line or quarterback. But I want to draft a new coordinator, big time, because now talking about coordinators or coaches that we could get, and a few names come to mind for me at least, specifically A.J. Smith. It's sort of been a big thing going around the Roughnecks community of people wanting A.J. Smith to be a coordinator or especially the head coach. Do you see that happening, Arlington?
I think AJ wants a shot at it. I think he wants to um, be the head guy. You saw what he was able to do with the Brahmas offense this past year. Granted, there was there was some hiccups along the way, but they were still able to make plays when they need to. He had good running back play. I would love to see what AJ Smith could do utilize with the Nolan Henderson or Mark Thompson in the backfield, having the receivers like a Kiki Chisholm or a Justin Hall, see how they can be utilized, because he's able to utilize that, especially in his Brahmas offense. That's why they're in the XFL Conference Championship now as we speak. So that would be a promise. I think the next job he wants is a head coaching job. I don't think it's going to be a job. But the only way he remains OC is if he stays with the Brahmas, because Wade Phillips having too much fun.
Yeah.
And I think he likes working with Wade because Wade allows him to run the offense. You already know Wade Phillips is a straight defensive guy. So he trusts AJ. That's what he did when he was in Houston last season. He trusted him with that entire offense, and they won or lost with whatever AJ chose out there on the field. And he has some creative control with that offense, and so I think having a little more creative mindset would be good for a team like the Houston Roughnecks.
What about June Jones? Do you see that happening?
Maybe, but I don't know. A lot of people, they're looking at June Jones from his past and stuff, and they don't know if he'll still want to do it. I was kind of surprised seeing like Hal Mummy. He is now in another league and coaching, but that he's still coaching. So yeah, June Jones, age doesn't matter. As long as he can still coach, I think he would still want to do that. So yeah, June Jones, I could see that as an OC for sure.
I think what I would like to, because I've also heard Anthony Blevins, even though I know he's with the Stallions right now, he was supposed to be the Vipers head coach, but of course they got folded. I think what I would like to see from this Roughnecks coaching staff next season, from a league perspective, if you want to get this fan base back in it, and if you want to get this team back in, if you want to get the city of Houston back on board with this team like we saw in 2020 and 2023, you got to hire a coach with history in the city. A.J. Smith even qualifies for that. Roughnecks fans know A.J. Smith. June Jones with P.J. Walker, right? Wade Phillips doesn't even need an introduction in Houston. I do not want to see, even if it's a great coach, I think it would be a bad move on the league to bring in a guy with no connection to the city. I know it may sound stupid to some people, but it worked. And even June Jones, he had connection to the Oilers, to the run and shoot offense. So do you agree with me on that statement? I've been thinking about it a lot, and they need to do that.
The only reason why I would have said Curtis Johnson had a connection to Houston because he was the Gamblers head coach, and it just made sense to just move him ahead as Roughnecks coach. But see, the difference what's mind-boggling, it's not mind-boggling. You had to understand, Cullen, that the talent level of this past UFL was greater than it was when you had XFL and then you had USFL players. Everybody, the talent level had exceeded what it was the prior year. And so it became more a challenge for coaches. Now, you can't really say that for San Antonio. Honestly, you can't say that for St. Louis for the simple fact, or Birmingham, because they know how to find quality players. Coach Beck, Wade Phillips, Skip Holtz, those are the elite coaches of spring football right now. Those are the guys that know how to build teams and get winners. That this time, those three coaches I just mentioned are all in the playoffs. And Mike Nolan himself, being an NFL head coach in his own right, they were probably the only team to flip the switch and were able to get wins, and able to they finished, I think, with 7-3 themselves. So we had three teams 7-3 in this UFL season, and of course Birmingham finished at 9-1. But for the bottom teams, it was tough because of the style of play that those winning ball clubs was putting together. It was harder. Like, if you really looked at the UFL season this year, you saw same quarterbacks, but different outcomes. It was a totally different league. So yeah, that's what that's the vibe I'm getting from this Houston team. Like, I know they were 5-5 in the USFL last year, but you can't play 5-5 ball here. You had to be strong to get into the top four and try to get cute. Can't do that.
And try to get cute and playing old school football. It's just it doesn't work. And we're not just saying this because these guys were in the USFL. Same thing goes with the XFL. I mean, Arlington Renegades, they won the championship last year. And were they they were a 2-8, finished 2-8 on the season? Were they a 2-8 team?
No, they were 3-7, but they still wouldn't. It didn't look like. They still didn't look like a 3-7 team, though.
Yeah, exactly. But the league was just so much better that these teams, they got left in the dust. We got dusted. This team, the Houston Roughnecks, got just dusted this year. So, I mean, any final words about the team? We pretty much, leading up to this, we've covered everything about this team. We only got one win on the season, so we've talked a lot about the issues with this team. Do you have any final words before we can do a little preview of the playoffs and stuff? But any final words about the Houston Roughnecks?
The Roughnecks, they'll have to think long and hard about what they want to do for 2025. So, you can't go nowhere but up from here. Honestly, at this point, you had your rough season, so now you just got to look forward to the future and find a way to make noise for next season.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And all we ask is for the fans, stay motivated. If you're a Texans fan, you know what this is like. And now look at us. So have the faith. I think we will be back. It's Houston Roughnecks, way too good of a franchise to have two bad seasons in a row. So, now, prediction-wise, Arlington, we came down to the wire. I finished 23-17.
22.
You finished 22-18. Which, if you think about it, that we didn't do too good. That's nothing to be proud of.
I picked the Brahmas and that kicker. But the first three games, mind you, it would be the Roughnecks that has the highest point differential. The other games, all the other three games were 1 point.
It was a great week of football. I mean, the Jake Bates missed kick. Ooh, that was.
I kind of felt for him because when he seen it and he hooked it, and you can see him hold his head to his helmet, hand it to his helmet, and he sat there, and I was like, oh my goodness. I'm like, I hope that didn't hurt his chances. I know, usually when you look at players in that situation, you want them to come through. But since he didn't come through, man, that kind of rocks his boat a little bit. And, I hope he gets an opportunity because he has been well for majority of the season. And not to mention, with that team is they still been on the rise. 7-3 is still good. Nobody expected Michigan to get to where they are. And the other person I feel kind of bad for was Ryan Santoso for San Antonio. He hooked his left. So it was a rough day, especially on day one for kickers.
It was. And I can't help but wonder if all that early season hype, that has to put pressure on a kid. That has to. And Jake Bates, he's young, and so I don't know. They're going to be outdoors against Birmingham.
And that's his struggle.
It is. Hasn't done too well outdoors.
When what was that fourth week of the UFL season when I think it was Memphis that they played.
Yep, it was Memphis.
I was like, he can hit indoors. Can he hit outdoors with the wind against him? Mm-hmm. And the answer was no. I think he missed all of his kicks outdoors.
Mm-hmm. Or pretty much all of them. Yep. And then Santoso for San Antonio, it's almost like he's just in his own head too. He's missed a lot of kicks lately, and that makes me nervous going into the playoffs for these guys. That pressure is going to be high, the highest it's been all season. So I will see if these kickers can come through it, because the game very well may be decided on these kicks. Now, so I want to preview the Panthers-Birmingham game. Adrian Martinez, has he looked off to you recently?
Absolutely.
These past 2 weeks, just something doesn't seem right about him.
I think teams have gotten the opportunity to see what he can do, and they're able to close in on him, and he's spiraling out of control at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to mess around and not get the Stallions into the championship game. I know that the defense is still holding up. You still have your receivers and your backs, like CJ Marable. Even though it was crazy that Ricky Person didn't even play because he was labeled inactive. It's going to be interesting to see what they do for this conference championship game. I would be like all hands on deck with this one. As many players, the best players I can get in, those that ain't roughed up. But also the thing is they're getting banged up.
Mm-hmm.
This was with every single team. That's why I was really perturbed with the release of the schedule of when they started this season. You started it and they weren't, and it showed how much damage has been done. It's going to be interesting to see how well that these guys play while banged up. They're trying their best to showcase that they still got it, and it's going to be on a greater realm for Fox, because they're putting the games out there.
Mm-hmm. And prediction wise, if you told me that I was even considering the Michigan Panthers a few weeks ago, I would have thought you're crazy. But Danny Etling, I believe I saw he's confirmed starting for the conference championship. So
as you should.
Yep. I'd agree on that, especially with Bryce Perkins being injured. Who do you have? I'm going to ask you first because I don't know. I truly don't know. I could see the Panthers winning it, but I could also see the Stallions winning it. But Panthers have been hot. I think they've been hotter recently than the Stallions.
Yeah, they were on a 7-game winning streak until they was on a 6-7 game winning streak until they ran into the Stallions or so. But they were hot, and they finished 7-3 and went down to the last game of the season. 20-19 was the final score, so that lets you know that there was drama in that game, and it would have been interesting had the Panthers would have pulled it off, they would have been the home team in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I'm glad we don't have to deal with that situation. That would have been
No
chaotic.
tiebreakers. Right. I love chaos, though. That's the thing I love.
Oh, I
Some
remember you
chaos.
said that last week.
I love chaos, but they didn't give it to me. But I would have to, if they, even though they've been all season long, and they've been having rocky play lately, I'm going to have to go with the Stallions. Stallions over Panthers. I shouldn't go that route, but I just see that happening.
I mean, up to this point, the Stallions have been the best team in the league. They're your two-time USFL champions. Skip Holtz, he's been in this situation before. I guess Mike Nolan has too. He was in the playoffs last season. But I'm going to have to go Birmingham too. I think Martinez, if worse comes to worse, Martinez will use his legs to get the win. He will use his legs. Is he still the leading rusher in the league?
I think so.
That's crazy. A quarterback leading the league in rushing yards. So I'm going to pick Birmingham too. I think Martinez, if worse comes to worse, he's just going to use his legs and wear out that Michigan defense. But we said it here, folks. If Michigan wins, bravo to them. They've had a hell of a season. Now, the one I'm most excited for, San Antonio versus St. Louis in the Battle Dome. This is going to be, I think, game of the year. Who do you got? This is going to be a crazy game.
Okay, so judging from the last game, you got to beat this team 3 times, man, and that's where the issue lies. You got to beat this team 3 straight times. But this is the Brahmas. I mean, this is both of their first playoff games.
Mm-hmm.
And the Battlehawks are at home, man. You cannot deny Coach Beck's battle cry is getting 60,000 in there. If they're able to get 60,000, I think it's going to be hard for the Brahmas to do it. 30,000 just ain't enough. You got to have the whole city come out for this game. It's a playoff game. So I think I might make my way to that game on Saturday. So just because it's a playoff game, I want to see it. I haven't seen one in years, so it would be honorable to be there. And so I think I'm gonna choose the Battlehawks, and Battlehawks and Stallions are gonna play for the championship, and then can't believe I'm saying this. Battlehawks wins the title.
Woo!
Wins the UFL title.
Woo! But you're not wrong. I know it sounds like I'm copying you, but hey, y'all can go back to one of the first episodes of the Rough 'Em Up podcast where I said that the championship game is going to be the Battlehawks versus the Stallions. I said that early on, so I'm not switching anything, and I'm going to keep with that. AJ McCarron, folks. That's all I have to say. AJ McCarron, you think when they make it to the championship game, he's going to be rattled playing the Birmingham Stallions? He's played in multiple national championship games in college. He's played in the NFL. So it's going to be storybook. St. Louis Battlehawks winning the UFL championship in St. Louis. Arlington, I'm jealous that you're going to be able to go. I still need to go to the Battle Dome. I've been wanting 2020, but I agree with Anto Chase Garbers is starting. I haven't seen anything. And if Dormady is starting, no offense to Quentin Dormady. I love the guy, but he's not Chase Garbers. And I think right now the San Antonio team needs Chase Garbers in there going against a team like St. Louis in the playoffs. But
hopefully they can get him back because he was injured. Garbers did get injured. So
it was the wrist injury again, which just sucks. You hate to see it. Garbers grew on me this season. I did not like him early on because I thought he was boring, but I grew to appreciate his accuracy and his precision a lot more. So I want to see Garbers in there. And, of course, on all our friends over at San Antonio, A.J. Smith, Wade Phillips, Peyton Party, all those guys, I'm always cheering for them. But it's going to be tough to beat
Willowbridge. Shout out to Mark Willowbridge, too. Yeah.
Come back to Houston, please. Come back to Houston.
All right. Is that it for the year? Is that it?
I think that is. I mean, we'll wait and see what the playoffs hold, but Arlington, it's been a hell of a year. It's been
Yeah,
one of those years.
Yes, it has. Grateful to be a part of this again for another season, and hopefully we can do it again for a third year. And this time we'll have more joyous moments on the show.
Let's
Hopefully.
Let's hope. Let's hope. It's been a rough season, but everyone, thank you so much for watching us every single week. I believe this is our 11th straight episode for this UFL 2024 season, and the support we have got has been phenomenal. And I know me and A-Train, we love all of y'all. We love this team. We love the fans, and that's who we do all of this for. This is for the fans. This is for those who want to know more about the UFL, and especially our very own Houston Roughnecks. But Arlington, any last words?
Hey, enjoy the last couple of weeks of this season, and we'll look forward to what could be happening in the future. And Cullen, thank you so much for another year, man.
Hey, thank you, Arlington, the best co-host in the game right here, folks. Anyways, thank you.
I'm humble.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see y'all next time. Go Roughnecks, baby.